What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with my WWE Payback Results review reaction. So I watched it last night. It was actually a pretty good pay-per-view. The best part of it, 2.5 hours. Got to, being on the East Coast, these late pay-per-views or long pay-per-views are a killer, especially on a Sunday. So overall it was pretty good. Wasn't too cool with the finish. I mean, that's just me, but almost every match I enjoyed. Some of them were a little maybe too short, things here and there, but overall, really liked it. I think WWE, 2 in a row, really good pay-per-views, even if you count, obviously not counting NXT, because NXT usually, even when they're bad, they're still pretty good, and they're never really bad. So anyway, I'm going to go through it, give my results. I did middle of the road on confidence points on this. So we're just going to go match by match. So let's see here. So we start with the kickoff. So a match that I didn't have because it wasn't announced until probably after I obviously posted my preview. Riot Squad and Iconics. Had I picked, I don't know what I would have picked, only because of the fact that they, have gone both ways with this. They could, keep seeing the feud between the Riot Squad and give the Iconics the push, or firmly bring the Riot Squad back together and kind of, just Iconics don't have to win. They can just lose, or it doesn't really matter. We had Truth showing up on set thinking it's Raw Talk. He had his 2019 calendar. I thought that was funny. So we do get the Riot Squad versus the Iconics. Liv and Ruby have matching gear, which I actually thought was really cool. It looked really good. It looked like they were back on track at that point. I guess Liv is basically giving up on that new look. Whatever, just no crazy makeup, just all black, blonde, black leather, blonde, straight. That's it. Guess they've kind of realized that they botched that to hell. So, for the most part, this match really was that the Iconics did a promo. They're trying to show that there's still beef between them, and that Ruby really doesn't care about Liv, and trying to seed those doubts. So at one point during the match, Billy tries to grab Liv's leg to get her off the rope. So she has her back turned because she's looking at Billy on the outside, and then Peyton gets pushed into Liv, gets knocked down, and they're trying to say it was Ruby who hit her. And which I thought was a little overdone, because at one point Ruby was then selling in the ring. It was like calling out for Liv, and Liv was like, I don't know if I should go in there, whatever. It was a little over the top, and then she finally just gets in the ring, absolutely just cleans house. They eventually, the Iconics hit their finisher on Ruby. Liv breaks it up. She goes for her offense. They're about to do the same finisher on Liv. She gets out of it. Eventually on Billy, I believe, yes, on Billy, so they end up doing a, Oblivion Codebreaker kind of combo into a Riot Kick, and they win. So that, I actually really liked that finisher. It's pretty cool. So they're celebrating. They go, instead of, going up the ramp, they go out by, where they ring, where the bell and announcer are, and they go on to the panel, the pre-game set, or kickoff set. And they say this is just the beginning, but they're out of breath, and she's saying, Ruby's like, it wasn't me. They're just trying to get us to fight, whatever. And Liv was like, I thought for a second you were. So it looks like they're together, but at the same time, I'm not sure. But I would really like to see that, that they could challenge for the tag team titles. I think that they're a really good team. So there we go. Main show: U.S. title versus Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. So we get earlier today a promo by Apollo, says he's going to make Apollo be a permanent stay-at-home dad. Apollo, I guess they get a pyro on the ring post, so we see that, in and around the ring pyro, which I thought was interesting throughout the day. Her Business is out there. They're both in suits, but Shelton's basically in a suit jacket and jeans. They do look good. They're not on commentary, they're just sitting outside. They do try to distract him at one point, but he's not having it. So we get Lashley hits the Dominator, but does a nonchalant cover for a 2 count. Frog splash by Apollo for a 2 count. Huge one-arm choke slam, and he's setting up for the full Nelson. He then gets the full Nelson on with the body scissors, and Apollo has to quickly tap out. Then they're doing this weird thing where they're telling the cameraman to come over, and they're doing this weird snapshot filter, so they're getting a picture, and then the picture like kind of gets superimposed onto the screen. It was very weird because they didn't do it again with any other match. But what was going to happen? Oh yeah, so then Apollo attacks Lashley after this. But he lost clean. There wasn't any shenanigans. He lost straight up clean. So he attacks Lashley, then sneaks away, gets away from Hurt Business, and he's coming up the ramp selling the injury, and he says he's going to get his title back. So, I mean, it can't be a double turn. They can't do that. They can't turn Hurt Business face and whatever. I like that Apollo is just, he's frustrated because, the whole point of this match was that, he loses, he goes back to catering, he doesn't want to do that, and he's talked about how his family was proud of him and all this stuff, and then he doesn't want to go back to it. So I completely understand that. Especially everything that Hurt Business has done to him. It's, for anyone to say, like, oh, he's turning heel, it's like, you realize these guys have been torturing him for, months. So, of course he's frustrated. We get Kayla backstage, and then it's basically to Paul Heyman asking if Roman is declined. He's like, it's like, oh, you squirreled your way to get to it, and he's like, squirreled my way. He said, Roman still, basically what ends up happening is Roman still hasn't signed the contract, which is ridiculous at this point. Keithley's doing some band stretching. JBL shows up. Something gives him a tip on some hedge funds, but $1 million buy-in. Says if you win, you're on your way, but if you lose, don't feel bad because Randy's one of the greats. I don't know if that JBL's just there because he was doing the kickoff show, or if he's actually going to have anything to do with this going forward. We then get an absolute hoss battle: Big E versus Sheamus. Earlier today, Sheamus is wearing his bar gear. The New Day were propping him up the whole time. I wish he would keep that gear. So essentially what commentary was already saying, which they show Raw Talk and all this stuff about, Smack Talk, Talking Smack, is that Big E needs to not be so like jovial and jokey and all this stuff. And he said, I'm not going to be what everyone wants me to be. I'm going to be me because that's what's got me as successful as I am. So at one point he's going for like the run across the ropes splash, and he's doing the hips, and then Sheamus gets up, knocks him out, not fully, but just kind of punches him in the face, and commentary's like, look, there you go. So we get Big E gives a Sheamus a chance to hit an Alabama Slam. Sheamus with the sharpshooter variation, Big E to the ropes. Eventually Big E hits the spear through the ropes, which always looks great, but it's so dangerous. There's a big ending countered into a heel hook. Big E is fighting because also one of the things was Sheamus was going after the legs, which, typical. If you're going to go after a big man, go after his legs. So let's see. Big E fights his way out of it. Then there's just a nasty V trigger by Sheamus for a 2 count. Goes for a brogue kick. It's countered into a powerbomb, and then the big ending for the win. I thought it was a pretty good match. Oh, see, this... I was saying that I was going to make a note to myself, and I didn't do it. So, damn it. Actually, you know what? See, I didn't mess it up, even though I was about to mess it up. I was going to make sure that I did my confidence points during the matches, but because the first match I didn't have any confidence points before, I didn't forget. See? Smart. It's got to happen. So for this one, for Big E, this was my most confident match. I had Big E winning in shoot and kayfabe, and I had 7 points of confidence. So, there you go. So I was 1 for 1. So I thought I was doing all right. Then we get the backstage Riddle interview. So we get this new interviewer, Elise Ashton. Haven't seen her before today. So Matt Riddle, doing his usual Matt Riddle stuff. Mo is motivated to end the King's ransom. But then Elise mentions that Corbin had tweeted that not only is he going to, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but show that Riddle is a failure in his kingdom, but also a failure at home. And I was like, damn, because Matt Riddle went from like, no. I thought it was a little in poor taste because obviously he had to be okay with it for them to do that. Because, these are, serious accusations. Obviously, even if you take the accusations out, he admitted already to having an affair with somebody. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little, So then we also get Nia and Shayna backstage. They're both arguing over who should take the lead. They start pushing each other. They say, let's quit. It's kind of lame, but they're like, let's quit the chit-chatting and, the pregame chit-chat and just get ready. Baron Corbin versus Matt Riddle. Baron Corbin got a lot of offense in this match. But, unfortunately what ended up happening with me was, my logic for this match was Payback is not a very big pay-per-view. It's also just, it's also very early in this run, and we know usually with Corbin he has these really long feuds that end up being just really annoying, and just, he wins a couple early on, or, just wins the ones that don't matter and then always loses the one that does matter. I felt this is one that doesn't matter, but had I known that tweet went out before I made my predictions, I would have switched it 100%. I said that as soon as I heard that tweet, I was like, well, my predictions are done. So there was a lot of Baron Corbin offense. Eventually, he does his slide for the second time around the ring, gets a kick to the head. Corbin goes to the outside, back in the ring. He hits a Broton and a PK for a 2 count. Corbin's selling a kidney shot, which happened, a kidney shot that happened earlier, which was, he sold it a lot. He does hit the deep 6 for a 2 count. Riddle gets a triangle, Bro to sleep, and then hits a floating Bro for the win. Now, it might not have made it seem like that, but Corbin got like 75% of the offense in this match early on. It was a good match, and I even said in my notes, had I not seen that tweet, I would have changed my mind. So we get a backstage interview with Riddle after he comes through the ramp. He's all excited. He says he's finally done to put this guy behind him. But obviously, as we know, WWE can't just have one match and end it. Corbin attacks him, puts him through a table. So we know now that this is going to keep going. We then get an absolutely fantastic match, which I never thought I'd say this. This was probably my favorite Nia match of all time. Bayley and Sasha versus Nia and Shayna for the women's tag team title. For that one, even though I lost, I had Corbin with 4 points, but I did have Riddle and kayfabe. So I think I probably did worse in kayfabe than I did in actual predictions, or it might have been 50-50. But let's see here. So we get Sasha can't help but keep staring at Bayley's SmackDown title as they're coming down to the ring. They're abusing Cole to start. Then Shayna and Nia are kind of like fighting with who's going to start. Shayna tags herself in. We get a botched double powerbomb on Shayna by Golden Role Models. Sasha tries to run her from the apron. Nia catches and tosses her into the barricade. This is on the outside. Sasha with a chop block while the ref is turned on Nia. Sasha with a knee like face wash kick to Nia in the corner. Nia uses Sasha as a weapon to swing around and hit Bayley. Bayley with a knee bar attempt. Nia drags her to the corner for the tag. Shayna comes in, just absolutely cleaning house. Gut wrench slam and a knee on Bayley for a 2 count. Sasha counters the powerbomb into an X Factor on Nia. That looked really cool. We get an elbow drop and a frog splash on Nia. Only gets a 2 count. Shayna with the crazy double submission. So what ends up happening was Shayna gets the hot tag. She's beating them all up. She then puts Sasha in a Muda lock. And then while Bayley comes to her, puts her in the clutch. So she falls down, has Sasha in the Muda lock while she has Bayley in the clutch. Sasha, obviously in the Muda lock, kind of with her back, kind of arches back and starts trying to punch, trying to get Sasha to let up the hold. And then what Shayna does, which is fucking brilliant, grabs Sasha's arm and then pulls that under Bayley. So now Bayley is essentially being choked out by Sasha. Bayley has to tap. They lose the tag team titles. Sasha now has no belts in consecutive pay-per-views, has now lost the Raw Championship and the women's tag team title. They're on the ramp, and I tweeted this. I also posted on Facebook. On Instagram, this picture of just Sasha just staring daggers into Bayley on the ramp, just so pissed, so jealous, because you know what? Bayley still has her SmackDown title. And then so Charlie comes into the ring for an interview. Nia being hysterical, just like, yeah, let's go, and kind of cutting Shayna off. And Shayna, and the other thing that was genuine about this was like, they went to hug each other to celebrate, and then they were like, oh wait, we hate each other. back off. But they actually showed like a lot of camaraderie there. I had been against this from the beginning. I thought it was really stupid. I was like, oh, okay, you're just doing this because you don't want them to fight each other. But you know what? It worked. It actually worked. They look great. They look super tough. Like, I don't know who's going to take them out. Kind of hoping that they don't have it for long because they do look so dominant. It's like who would ever beat them. So I do hope that Bayley and Sasha regain it somehow, hook or crook, doesn't matter. My thought process behind this is that, they keep selling when this is going to turn, when this is going to turn. Every time we think that they're going to split up, they don't. So, I just was like, you know what, let's just go with the trend. The one time I decided to go with the trend, it bites me in the ass. Shayna says, let's go celebrate. So, yeah, new tag champs. We then get Randy Orton versus Keithley. I mean, someone had said that this is Brawley from Dragon Ball. I don't remember that, but I mean, listen, I love Dragon Ball so much. It's one of my favorite cartoons, anime of all time. But I just think it looked absolutely ridiculous on Keith Lee. They have even newer music than the new music he gave them. A little better, but still very generic, very Goldberg-esque. But Lee hits a front splash. Orton rolls to the outside. He's frustrated. He comes back and says he's the legend killer and demands Lee's respect. Then goes for some slaps on Lee's chest, and it was just, they were loud. They were, I don't know if it was piped in or not, but they were loud. Then eventually, Orton gets double slapped by Keith Lee. I think he calls it Grizzly Magnum or something. Lee gets posted, dropped on the announce desk, but it doesn't break, just lands on the monitors, which is rough. Orton attacking the knee back in the ring. Orton gets pounced out of the ring, and then Orton dropped on the table as well, just like Keith Lee was, and it was just a loud thud. It was rough. Lee gets a draping DDT. Kind of took too long. No, it was because he took too long to get back into the ring. So then Randy goes for an RKO attempt. Then Lee pushes him off, hits him with the Spirit Bomb. Just looked wild, super high up, and he gets the win. Keith Lee, perfectly clean. It was a very quick match, though, but actually just gets the win on Randy Orton now. So now I'm like, ooh, Randy Orton lost in consecutive pay-per-views on the run he was on. I mean, everyone's like, he never does anything. I mean, this is huge, putting over Keith Lee like that. I mean, there was no fuck finish. There was no retribution. There's no retribution at all. I'll get to that. But yeah, no, it was a good match. I had Orton on shooting kayfabe, even though I liked Keith Lee a lot, but only 2 points of confidence on it. I just wasn't sure, and I was right to not be sure about that because look what happened. Heyman's backstage. Kayla scares him while he's trying to go into the locker room. Roman's dressing room. Has he signed? Roman promised he'd be here, and he has. He promised he'd be in the match, and he will. He promised he'd win, and he will do that too. But still, she's like, well, can I talk to him? And he's like, no. Then we get another fantastic match. Dominic and Rey versus Seth and Buddy. Dominic loses the hood. Super happy about that. There was a lot in here. I'm going to just fly through this because there was so much. Rey fakes that he's going to start the match. Dominic comes in and attacks both of them. He's doing springboard, arm drags on everybody. Seth slides Rey out onto Buddy's knees. We get a hot tag to Dominic, tries to splash, but countered into an assisted Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Eventually, he's getting, Dom reverses Buddy and Seth into the barricade because they're trying to throw him into the barricade. Rey gets the hot tag. Top rope moonsault by Rey for a 2 count. Dom with a tilt-a-whirl DDT that absolutely spikes Buddy. Seth hits the sling blade, though, while that's going on. Everyone's brawling inside and outside the ring. Seth intercepts Rey in midair with a gutbuster when he tries to do a splash. Hits a super kick, only gets a 2 count. A double throw. So they double throw Dom into the barricade. He's selling the injury there. Buddy kicks Seth by accident, so what ends up happening is Seth is trying to go for a buckle bomb. Says to Buddy, you kick him in the back, kind of like the Young Bucks. So what happens is Rey Rana's Seth and gets kicked in the face by Buddy, who is like really apologetic. Dom sends Rey into a powerbomb. Alright, that was where, yeah. So then on the outside, they send oh no. So Dom slides Ray out, so he does the sunset flip powerbomb to Seth into the barricade. Dom back in the ring, hits a 619 on Buddy, frog splash for the win, his first victory as a WWE superstar on a pay-per-view. Damn fine match. Seth looks like super angry at Buddy and he walks away from him. Buddy looks like just inconsolable. He's so sad. He's so hurt that he did that. We then get did I have that one? Yes, and that was my second most confident because I knew that Dominic was going to get his first win. So I had them both in shooting kayfabe, 6 points of confidence on that. And then, let's see what we're on here. And then we have our main event, Reigns versus Fiend versus Braun. Braun, I don't know if he gave himself the jobber entrance or he was just lying in wait, but Fiend has his whole entrance, gets attacked by Braun. They're battling, no sign of Reigns. They battle, trying to put each other through the announce table. Braun goes through the announce table. What's his name? There's a couple of neck breaks. Bray uses his mallet, his Harley Quinn mallet. Speaking of Harley Quinn, we get a couple little shots of Alexa Bliss looking from the side at the monitor, and that's all we see of her the entire match. So she has nothing to do with this. So they're fighting. They go up the ramp. They're sending each other in the LED boards. Braun kind of spears Bray off the stage through some kind of table type spot. They brawl back to the ring. Bray hits a superplex on Braun. The ring collapses. Little Nate, the ref, is basically sent outside, not to be seen again. Dan it. Roman Reigns comes out. He signs the contract just then. That seems a little ridiculous. Brings a chair to the ring, decides not to use the chair, goes in, another ref comes out. He tries to pin Bray. Obviously, Bray kicks out. He tries to pin Braun. Obviously, Braun kicks out. He goes back outside, grabs the chair. Just absolutely just destroys Braun with the chair, 7 chair shots, going crazy. Goes to go for a chair shot on Bray. Bray hits the mandible claw, kick to the balls, sends the Fiend to the outside. We then get one spear by Roman Reigns on Braun for the win. He is your new Universal Champion. Don't think it was right. Don't think it was deserved. Essentially, what's his name? Bray was a transitional champion for one reign, not even a freaking actual defense. So we also have, or what should I say we don't have, is no retribution. They keep talking about retribution. Payback literally is a synonym for retribution, and they don't have retribution. They're barely even mentioned on the telecast. So Roman Reigns is your new Universal Champ. We will see now how his reign goes. Will he embrace more of his heel tendencies? Will Paul Heyman have more to do with this? I don't know. I wasn't keen on it, but overall though, it was a good pay-per-view. Short, sweet, to the point. All the titles changed hands, which I can't remember the last time I've seen that. So there you have it. As always, I had 1 point of confidence on Roman Reigns, and I give my match of the night. This was tough because both tag matches were just absolutely phenomenal, but I'm going to give it to the women's tag team title, which I didn't think I would because I'm not a big fan of Nia's. I thought this was a weird storyline, but damn, it was a great match. Nia looked good, Shayna looked good. That finish was absolutely amazing. The implications of this, of now Sasha being Sasha dose straps to Sasha no straps, very interesting. Will this finally put the nail in the coffin of their friendship? Who knows? So there you have it. WWE Payback in the books. Next one will be Clash of Champions in late September. I've had 2 dates I've seen. I've seen both the 20th and the 27th, so I'm kind of curious, maybe if that was just an error and they'll figure it out. But I will, as always, don't forget to check in my weekend reviews and anything else assorted I post. So as always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.